Okay. The Cleveland Cavaliers are up next. The Cavs, much more playoff capable team, I think, this year. They acquired Max Strus in a sign and trade for Cedi Osman and Lamar Stevens. Really, really good. They brought back Karis LeVert on a 2-year, $32 million deal. Strus got a 4-year, $62 million deal. George Niang, they signed to a 3-year, $25 million deal. They bring in Ty Jerome to a 2-year, $4.6 million deal. They signed Craig Porter Jr. to a 2-way deal, which I actually really liked and wanted to note that. And all of those guys will replace Danny Green, Dylan Windler, Robin Lopez, Raul Neto. They drafted Imani Bates in the draft as well. It's worth noting. He'll spend most of his year in Canton, I would think. Or wherever I think the G League team is no longer in Canton. Yeah, I think it's in Cleveland now.
Cleveland now. Say that.
Yeah. The thing that the Cavs struggled with in the playoffs against the Knicks was not having a coherent, competent fifth option offensively on the court. Isaac Okoro does not get treated as a shooter. Karis LeVert does not get treated as a shooter. They went out and they got in Max Strus and George Niang, two guys that can really step in and knock down shots. Max Strus particularly was just an essential role player on a Miami Heat team that made the NBA Finals. He's a good one-on-one on-ball defender. George Niang is as smart as they come. These two guys give you an immense amount of lineup flexibility. They give you a lot more off the bench when your starters leave the table. The Cavs last season in the regular season, for people who are unaware, had the second best net rating in the NBA at plus 5.6. They were the best defensive team. They were a top 10 offensive team. They still have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen as your top four. I think the Cavs last year, they won 51 games. I think they win more than 51 games this year in the regular season.
They're really fucking good, Sam. This roster's really good.
You're going to get internal growth from Evan Mobley. You're going to have another year of continuity from Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell playing together. They're deeper. They have more shooting than what they did a year ago, which, by the way, we talk a decent amount about shooting on this show because it is so important. This team took the 24th most three-point attempts in the league last year. Part of that was pace-based, but like all of those three-point attempts coming basically from Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, or at least I think like more than half of them, because Donovan was taking 9.3 and Darius was taking 6 of them. This team is going to be an awesome regular season team. They're going to be unbelievable regular season team.
They're super fun. They defend. I love the fact that I'm kind of eating my words about how Mobley and Allen can fit together. And that pairing looks sensational for the Cavs down low. And it gives them such defensive dominance through the regular season that they can get away with more offensive firepower 1 through 3. And that's where leaning into that and letting guys like Strus and Niang, I don't want to throw Strus under the bus. He's solid on the defensive end of the floor, but it allows the Cavaliers to lean in a little bit more to raising that offense to an elite level. And I think this could be the year when they really take that leap. I absolutely love Darius Garland. He is the one guy that I don't think gets talked enough about because Mobley has been so good on defense and Donovan Mitchell has come in and quickly changed the trajectory of the franchise. Darius Garland is one of the more well-rounded offensive players that you'll find in this league. Like a really good combination of on-ball and off-ball, play, make, and score. I'm a huge Darius Garland fan. If he can take another leap, this is like a 56-plus win team to me.
I kind of think I agree with you. And they have a little bit more versatility in terms of the lineups they can throw out there is the big reason why. Like last year, it just feels like they don't have a lot of confidence in Dean Wade. They lose Cedi Osman, who was a struggle bus, it felt like a lot of the time on defense to me. Kevin Love was, for whatever reason, able to like really bring it back on the Miami Heat, but was not there for the Cavs, was not nearly as effective. Danny Green was, he was, it felt like he was done by the time the playoffs rolled around. And I know he didn't play a ton of regular season minutes, but nonetheless, right? Like, this is a really loaded, deep team this season that has real floor spacing around Evan Mobley, around Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. It's going to be easier for Garland and Mitchell to be able to get into the paint and drive and create things this year than what it was last year, because someone's going to always have to stay attached to Strus, to Niang in the corner. Yeah, they're going to be good.
Yep.
They're going to be really, really good, I think. And look, their playoffs will depend on a couple of things. They need to find, I think, first and foremost, the right matchup. The Knicks were just a really bad matchup for them last year. Second, they need Evan Mobley to take a leap, not just in terms of a defensive help defender all over the place, being able to like move around and fly around, but also as a defensive rebounder and anchor on the interior that also can do a little bit more of the ball in his hands. If he can play real minutes to 5 in the playoffs, that is the thing for them.
Yep.
And typically year 3 is when these guys that are a little bit skinny, that have like center measurements, are able to slide into that role a little bit more often. I have hopes that Evan Mobley will be able to take situational minutes in that role in the playoffs when necessary, not to like completely remove Jared Allen from the equation, because Jared Allen, by the way, was probably a top 10 defender in the NBA last year. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley both being top 10 defenders, Mobley a top 5 defender. That's the reason this was the best team defensively in the NBA last season.
Yep.
They will continue to be that as long as they have both of those guys there in the regular season. But like, Mobley being able to slide down and play the 5 more often is what changes them from a regular season juggernaut to a really, really good potential playoff team that can get multiple shooters out there on the court with Garland and Mitchell. They can get, you know, potential 3-and-D guys out there. Like, it's really, really important for Mobley to be able to slide down and play the 5. Any leap that he takes this year is really big, I think.
Yeah, I like the lineup flexibility. I think that's a good call for them moving forward to the playoffs. But what I like is the natural progression of how Kobe Altman and company are kind of building this roster, right? You see if the too big experiment works. Then you go out and you make a major move for another star player. That's your next offseason to try to say, okay, now we've got a ton of talent and a unique kind of roster build. And then you find the right role players next to them. And where they've really leaned into was saying this Allen and Mobley defensive group is so dominant, even with guys like Mitchell and Garland, who aren't known for being top tier defenders on the perimeter, but we still have the number 1 defense in the NBA. We can lean a little bit more into offense with our role players. Let's go out and get George Niang. Let's go out and get Max Strus. Let's try Ty Jerome for not much money at all. And a guy who like can really shoot and play on ball and off ball and has legitimate offensive value in this league. Like, he could be in for a very good year because he knows he's got those 2 rim protectors behind him. I just love the way this Cavs roster has been thought out and the way that it has progressed to get to this point. Like, they're going to continue to get better.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep getting better too. I've seen some like conversations preliminarily about like the Cavs need to look at moving Donovan Mitchell already. I think that is like so premature based on where they are right now. He still has this year and next year locked in. There is like no argument for even considering moving Mitchell based on where they are right now.
Yeah.
The other piece of this, and I mentioned it in the extension eligible section here on the YouTube video, which, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to the podcast version, go to YouTube, subscribe. You will be able to watch these shows with real graphics and everything like that, which break down what we're talking about. Really fun. We're getting a little bit more interactive here. The other piece of this that is interesting is Isaac Okoro. He is extension eligible. He is a good defender. Like, he has proven his worth on that end. He continues to get just like a little bit better offensively every year in terms of his role. He still does not take many threes, and that is ultimately the biggest problem for him. He needs to become a confident three-point shooter, not just a three-point shooter.
Yeah.
But over the last 2 years, Isaac Okoro has taken over 300 threes and made them at like a 36% clip. And I think I would want to re-sign him if I was Cleveland. I don't know what the number is. Maybe it's like 445 or something. I wouldn't want it to be super high given the fact that he has not seen a lot, but I would want to continue to go down this road. And if I could get a discount on him, I would want to do it.
All right. I guess I could understand that. I can't get the taste of the postseason out of my mouth from that. And I still think you want extension guys and second contract guys who help you in the playoffs. And I saw real threats to that from Isaac this year.
And he's 22, and if he can shoot
He's
even
young.
a little bit,
he's young.
If he can shoot if he can make 36% of his threes when he's taking 5 of them per game as opposed to like 2.5 per game, he's wide open. That's the biggest thing why these threes fall, right? He is wide ass open every single time. But I don't know. I still love the way he plays. I still love the like wrecking ball attitude that he brings. I have like a little bit of faith, a little bit to where I would want to continue to go down that road because it's going to be hard for the Cavs to find guys like him.
Sure.
Moving forward. That's neither here nor there though at this point. I think Okoro can be valuable with the Cavs, but he still has a leap to go in order to get to that level. The thing is, though, they need somebody like him as like a defensive-minded player that can guard backcourt players.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of continuing down that road.